Cinema, an art that would completely transform the way humanity tells and experiences stories. Arrived in Spain at the end of the 19th century and solidified itself in the early 20th century. This new form of visual communication, which at first seemed destined only to entertain and astonish, soon demonstrated its immense potential to capture reality, evoke emotions, and carry narratives that uniquely connected with audiences. What began as a technical innovation, almost magical, quickly evolved into a medium capable of reflecting the society of the time, with all its virtues and contradictions. In this way, cinema not only documented the social, political, and cultural changes of the country, but also became a key element in building collective identity and leaving a profound mark in the cultural history of Spain. On December 28, 1895, the Lumiere brothers astonished the world with the cinematograph. Less than a year later, in May 1896, Spain witnessed this magic in Madrid, thanks to a French technician. In October 1896, Eduardo Jimeno captured one of the first Spanish films, depicting the exit from a mass at the Pillar Basilica in Zaragoza. Spain was beginning to tell its own stories. Fructuoso Gelabert marked a turning point with Riña en un café, Spain's first fiction film. Meanwhile, Segundo de Chomón, inspired by Georges Méliès, pushed the limits of imagination with visual tricks in El Hotel Eléctrico, 1905. During this decade, Spanish cinema began to connect with its audience, offering stories that resonated with the public. Works like La Verbena de la Paloma and Corrito de la Cruz laid the groundwork for a popular style. Barcelona emerged as the heart of national cinema, with an increasing annual production. However, the lack of government support and restrictive laws, like the 1913 censorship, hindered the more robust development. The arrival of the Second Republic brought promises of change, coinciding with the era of sound cinema. The sector faced technical and financial challenges that drastically reduced a national production. Luis Buñuel stood out with Las Hurdes, a documentary that exposed harsh social realities, challenging the status quo and facing censorship.
Los matorrales de Brezo y Jara. Antes de llegar a las Urdes, debemos pasar por la Alberca, antigua villa de carácter casi feudal. Todos los habitantes de las Urdes eran tributarios de este pueblo. He aquí la iglesia de la Alberca. Dos calaveras, desde sus nichos, parecen presidir los destinos de la Alberca. Las casas, de aspecto medieval, tienen 3 pisos y son de una arquitectura nada frecuente en España. La mayor parte lleva en el frontis una inscripción religiosa. Ave María Purísima, sin pecado concebida. El día de nuestra llegada, vemos a muchas mujeres peinarse a la puerta de sus casas, adornadas con sus mejores atavíos. Preguntamos el motivo y nos dicen que vayamos a la plaza de la iglesia, en donde va a celebrarse, como todos los años, una extraña y bárbara fiesta. En la plaza se ha reunido casi todo el pueblo. Los recién casados del año deben arrancar cada uno la cabeza de un gallo. En 1933, año en que tomamos estas vistas, eran 6. Se ha tendido una cuerda a través de una calle para colgar el gallo por las patas. Cada jinete, al galope de su cabalgadura, tiene que arrancar la cabeza de un gallo. A pesar de la crueldad de esta escena, un prurito de objetividad nos fuerza a mostrarla.
For a long time, Spanish cinema silenced women, both on and off the screen. This video takes a journey through the early days of this story, exploring how women transitioned from being marginalized to becoming key figures in the world of Spanish cinema. From the very beginning, Spanish cinema reflected a patriarchal society. During the silent film era, early films depicted women from confined to traditional roles. They were often portrayed as secondary to male protagonists, with little or no agency over their own lives. These films established stereotypes that persisted for decades. A paradigmatic example is La Aldea Maldita, from 1929, which portrays women as symbol of moral corruption. This film illustrates how cinema reinforced the idea that women needed to be rescued by male figures, after paying a high price for their redemption. With the arrival of the Second Republic, cracks began to appear. Women's social and labor rights gained visibility, but this did not immediately translate into profound changes in cinema. While some more modern themes emerged, such as divorce and greater sexual freedom, their narratives often maintained a conservative perspective. Amidst this unequal context, some women challenged the established stereotypes and paved the way into the world of cinema. Rosario Pi is considered the first Spanish female director. She began her career during the Republic, proving that despite the barriers, it was possible for women to lead film projects. In the 1950s, Ana Mariscal and Margarita Alexandre emerged as prominent figures, working from an innovative perspective that addressed social issues. Ana Mariscal, for example, incorporated elements of neorealism to portray stories that questioned the society of her time. In the 1970s and 1980s, directors like Pilar Miró, Josefina Molina, and Cecilia Bartolomé led a new era. Besides creating groundbreaking films, they fought to transform the industry. Pilar Miró, for example, did not only made films, but also directed Spain's audiovisual policy, launching a super program that still benefits national production today. During Franco's regime, the image of women in cinema became a propaganda tool. Films reinforced the role of the woman as obedient mothers and wives, alienating them from any concept of independence. This ideological manipulation was constant, even though visual language, with actresses often infantilized and confined to submissive roles. It wasn't until the 1960s and 1970s that voices within the new Spanish cinema began to challenge these narratives. Directors like Carlos Suara made films that exposed the tensions of a society undergoing change. One example is La Tía Tula, from 1964, which portrays the moral and sexual oppression imposed on women.
Tú sabes que yo he estado casado. Por otra parte, mis hijos. Lo he pensado mucho últimamente. Tula, no podemos seguir así. Mira, casi no me atrevo a decírtelo. Tula, creo que debemos casarnos.
En Caracas ya nos contará
Jovita cuando llegue allí.
y seguro que no ha de exagerar.
Pues Rubén ha de hacerla muy feliz.
Oh, I'm hyperventilating a little bit. If I fall over, pick me up because I've got some things to say.
From the very beginning, women have been silenced in cinema, but they have also fought to be heard. Figures like Rosario Pi, Ana Mariscal, Pilar Miró, and Josefina Molina paved the way for others who continue to walk this path today. However, challenges remain. Despite progress, the industry is still dominated by male perspective, and many female stories are still waiting to be told. Cinema is a powerful tool for societal change, and the future of Spanish cinema, like the future of equality, is still waiting to be written.